Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with the greatest recordings ever. And today we're talking about Sibelius, Symphony number 7. Kind of a mysterious work, actually. You know, it's an amazingly important work. It had a tremendous influence on later composers, particularly those who were trying to write symphonies in a single movement. Because Sibelius's first is a symphony in a single movement, but it is not a symphony in which this single movement incorporates what you might call the 4 standard symphonic movements. That is a sonata allegro, and then a slow movement, and then a scherzo thing, and then a zippy finale. It doesn't do that at all. It has its own special form, and that form is more like a sort of glorified, if you might call it a rondo, if you want to relate it to classical forms at all. It has a long, slow introduction leading up to the main theme on the trombone. Da, 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 ba, 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 ba. You know, it's just a big, huge theme that goes up and down in like 3 octaves of range. Anyway, it's on the trombones, and then it slowly begins to gather speed and builds up to a huge sort of storm episode in which the theme returns in the minor key, the first return of what you want to call the rondo theme. And then you've got a pastoral episode, which is also based on the same theme. It's a melodic transformation of that tune. And then from speeding up, the music gradually slows back down. It gathers steam actually as it slows down. This big crescendo. It's like if it releases kinetic energy in the first half, it accumulates potential energy in the second. And at the climax of that, the big trombone theme returns, and then there's a slow coda, leading to a very fulfilling but kind of abrupt amen type ending. Sibelius was big on amen type endings, da, amen, things like that. So that's what it does. It ought to last in a good performance between about 22 or 23 minutes. It can go a little quicker, it can go a little slower, but not that much, because if it's a little bit too much on either side of those figures, its proportions start to get out of whack. That's something that you feel as it's playing. You know, that it's either dragging or it's slipping or it's doing something it shouldn't be doing. It's really kind of fascinating that way, because you feel the whole thing. I mean, it's a giant organic blob of music. It has its own living shape. And so proportion is a critical part of a fine performance. And one of the greatest recordings ever, for sure, is this one. Leonard Bernstein's first recording with the New York Philharmonic on Sony. This has always been one of the great Sibelius 7ths. There are a few of them floating about out there. You know, it's kind of interesting. You know, Bernstein was a Koussevitzky protege, and Koussevitzky was a Sibelian to the manner born. He did a lot of Sibelius, and Bernstein sort of encountered Sibelius at Koussevitzky's knee, as it were. This early Sibelius cycle of Bernstein generally is really very, very good. His remakes on Deutsche Grammophon are seldom as good, very seldom as good. I'm not quite sure what happened. He slowed down. His first symphony is okay. The second is distended. And 5 and 7 are really where you see or hear that loss of proportion. Where here everything is beautiful and shapely and natural and organic and inevitable and all of the things that this symphony should be. It's a shame that he kind of lost it later in life, but that's the way it goes. It got slow and heavy and ponderous and strange. Well, this isn't. This is lively and beautiful, lively and lithe and lively. There we go. And beautiful, absolutely beautiful, and very well recorded too. So if you're looking for a Sibelius 7th, it always comes coupled with other Sibelius things usually, because it's only 22 and so minutes long. This one is 22 minutes and 46 seconds. Right on the money. Exactly what it should be. Then this is a very, very good option. because it's unquestionably one of the greatest recordings ever from a conductor who really was in that idiom, who was there at the creation when this stuff was, first being performed and seeping into the repertoire. And it's really good to get some performances from that period, from this period generally. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks so much for joining me, and take care.